Hi, I'm Paul Bowman, CEO at Wexer, the digital fitness specialist who deliver over 25 million fitness experiences per year for our partners worldwide. Welcome to the Wexer podcast, where I'll be speaking to industry experts to bring you insights and advice to support your business journeys. In today's episode, I'll be chatting with Lorraine Valera, Senior Product Manager here at Wexer. I'm excited for this, Lorraine. First time on the pod. How are you?
All right, thanks. Finally, I was waiting for this invite.
Yeah. To be fair, you should have been on many times before, and I know you are slightly famous. You know, your face is around a lot of Wexer marketing, so it's time we had you on the pod and get to understand you a little bit. So I think, you know, actually as a starting point, maybe just like for what does day to day look like for a senior product manager at Wexer?
Well, I own the vision and roadmap for the Wexer product. So that's our virtual product and our mobile product. So, I mean, day to day, it means that I get to work with everyone in the company, which is great, with all of our clients, which I love as well. And it means balancing feedback, tech infrastructure, business goals, and putting that all together into a plan for the next, to the moon and beyond, let's say.
I like that. And I guess what drove you to the fitness technology space? Because you know, maybe a little bit for the listeners in terms of your background before you answer that as well.
Yeah. So I worked in product in different industries before. So I worked in marketing automation, in mobility, in education technology, and I didn't always love fitness. I loved it when I was a kid, like most teenage girls dropped off around those years, and then kind of fell in love with it as an adult again. Okay. So when I saw the opportunity to work in this space, I took it, and I'm super happy that I did, because it really aligns something that, my work with what I love. So it's really great. Yeah, I love the industry.
Nice. It's you know, as I think one of the biggest things I've learned about this pod actually is just how addictive the fitness space is. People that have come from non-fitness going into fitness, and they just will never ever leave the industry. So we've locked you in now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're stuck with me. It's how I would frame it.
It's a good marriage. So look, you know, today we're gonna do a bit of a deep dive into the Wexer products and understand some of the functions that probably you would feel and the product team would feel that maybe a little bit underused. Is that fair?
Definitely, yeah. I think they're the underdog of our functionality, but really they can add a ton of value for operators.
Yeah. So let's talk about the players, the in-club players. Like in terms of, you know, what would be your best advice in terms for operators? How do they use their logos, taglines, colors to reflect their brand identity? Because that's one of the things that is a simple thing, but a lot of operators don't actually do.
Yeah, exactly. So what operators can do is they can, like you said, adjust the logo, tagline, and colors to make the virtual player feel like an integral part of their club, so that it's just a continuation of their brand experience for the members. And it also signals to members that this is a part of the experience in the club. And so it also reduces friction and just makes it more cohesive. And then, it builds brand consistency as well across touch points in the club, in the app, and on the virtual player. So that's a great way to
make, and then I guess beyond branding, you know, and the players itself, you know, screensavers are something that I feel like should just be a must in terms of communication to members and videos. But you know, tell me, like, in an ideal world, how would operators be using that in a better fashion?
Yeah, screensavers are awesome because they're really multifunctional. So one of the main use cases for screensavers was to help members realize that this is one screen they can interact with. So what we see work really well is to have some kind of call to action on the screen, some cool video highlighting the content that you can find on the player, just to make it really clear that as a member coming in, I know I can click on it and play with it, because there's so many screens now and not all of them are interactive. But of course, it's not the only thing you can do with screensavers, right? You can also promote other things that are happening inside your club and just use that space for whatever you can think of once the members know that they can interact with it. So it's a very versatile functionality, really.
Yeah, no, it makes, well, absolutely. And I love the idea of, video greetings on the touch screen. Probably explain that a little bit, because that's not as that's reasonably new-ish in terms of a feature that enables you to interact with the players and feel a little bit connected to the facility.
Yeah, well, yeah. So now you can have the screensavers on the touchscreen as well. So as I said, it's kind of a way to let the member know they can interact with the screen, but you can also personalize it a lot more to make the member feel welcome, because we're all about reducing friction, right? And as a member, you already did quite a lot before you even got to the gym. You had to decide to go, you had to change, grab your gear, actually get there. So then we want to make everything as easy as possible. So if there's some sort of personalized message on there guiding them to the content that they're most likely to want, that's what we want to do, because we want to make it as easy as possible for them to interact, get to the content, and do a class.
All about reducing intimidation. Love it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And let's talk about the commercials. Like, how can operators use our portals to, spotlight new trainers, upcoming programs, special promotions right inside their clubs?
Yeah, so commercials are a little bit different than screensavers in the sense that they will play on the big screen inside the studio where the player is. And what's really great about that is that you will have people watching, because how it works with commercials is that you upload them and you decide when they play, but they will always play right before class starts or right after. So when members are already getting their gear ready, finding their spot, putting down their yoga mat, so you will have views on that content. So it's a great way to highlight maybe things that you sell out front, or local partnerships, or your PTs, new content that's coming out, anything that you want to promote. This is an extra way to do it where you will have views.
Well, you've got a captured audience and you've got space for them to be able to understand what else is in the club. Yeah. And then I guess moving towards the advertising, we've got many large club groups that have utilized this very well as a revenue opportunity, but like in terms of engaging with local businesses and just generating revenue through advertising opportunities, what would be your advice?
Well, to capitalize on that, I think Wexer is usually seen as a content delivery hardware, but it's so much more than that. So like you said, it can be really be a revenue driver as well, not only in the member experience, but in commercial partnerships. So my advice would be to really start looking into it, reach out to your customer success manager and start talking about what you can do. Get some best practices in there and really start using it, start experimenting, and maybe start with your own internal things that you want to promote. Maybe that's your PTs, maybe that's an event that you're hosting, see what kind of traction you're getting, and then move on to the local partnerships and the ad revenue, so that you really build up step by step.
Perfect. Yeah, no, totally agree. And I think, it's amazed me how many, especially large clubs, haven't focused on large brands. And if you think about some of our biggest operators that are utilizing this, these some of the biggest brands in the world that are there are keen to be able to support and communicate their messaging inside the club. It's a bit of a win-win. So something that I think all teams should be looking at. But if smaller in size, taking more local businesses that are aligned to your region and your size is actually really, really powerful as well. So it can be used as a large scale tool, but also be used to engage with local stars. And we all know how important local stars are these days. So I guess moving to favorites, like that's been a huge uptake in terms of people actually using favorites on a regular basis. But for the people that aren't using favorites, like, how can clubs curate their most popular classes and put them front and center? Like, I guess, what is the impact it's had on member engagement, and what is the feature exactly?
Yeah. So here we're all about reducing member friction again. So like I said, they did a lot of work to get into the gym. They interacted with the screen because of that screensaver that you put on, and now they have to find content. And just like when you turn on Netflix after a long day, you don't want to browse for 3 hours before you find something, right? So the clubs can now review the most played content, or what works best in the scheduled content area, and then put that as a favorite right on the home screen, so that when they do touch it, they see the best content front and center and don't have to think too long. They can just find the content that they want and start their class immediately. So it's, again, about making that member experience really, really easy. And the easier it is, the easier it is to also build that habit, right? So they'll keep coming back for it.
And do you think, again, this is my opinion, is the favorites have been used because, when you join a club, you trust that club to be able to help you with results. So you also trust their curation. And I think that the great thing about the Wexer data is that you always have the ability to understand what is your most used class. So let's say you don't do favorites for the first 6 weeks to see what people play around with. But then also there's an argument, and I had this conversation with many operators where it's like, well, you kind of tell them what they should be doing and they'll do it. We know that as soon as you create a favorites list, 80% of the time they're going to be using the favorites list over anything else. So it's an interesting one. I think you either do a really, really short term, see what members use and then create favorites, or you create favorites straight away, because they, as you said, like Netflix is a good example. You just don't want it. You've done so much to get to the gym, parking, all the rest of it, pack the bag, put the kids in creche, whatever. And then you need to be able you want that to be, okay, cool. That's what it looks like. That's right for my membership.
Yeah. And like you said, I mean, members trust the club. So it's also an opportunity for clubs to experiment a little bit sometimes, potentially with new types of content that they think their members might like, and kind of slip it in there just to see if it works and experiment. So it's a great way to help the member find good content.
Yeah, nice. And then I guess, again, trailers, probably a feature that I think is a little bit underutilized, but how can operators download and use trailers in their wider marketing campaigns?
Yeah. So trailers, I mean, we have a lot of content, right, that the members can choose from. So downloading the trailers of some of the most curated content and sharing that in marketing campaigns is a great way to highlight the options that members have and get them excited to come into the club and try those classes. So operators have access to those trailers when they log into our admin tool, and they can access it there, download, and then plug it in wherever they need to reach their members, whether that's again on the screensavers or in emails to activate and engage their members, or anywhere else really.
Yeah, and I would definitely be using content just in general email campaigns. If we can make it look a little bit more, pop. We know the marketing operators that we serve, their marketing teams are amazing, but you got some of the best influencers worldwide on our platform that you can utilize by using the content in those trailers. So no brainer on my side. So, and then in terms of how you see Wexer evolving as a marketing support tool for operators, are there any new features in the pipeline that will make these resources even more impactful?
Yeah. Well, I think right now we're really in a big push to make sure everyone knows about these features, which is why we're also doing this, right? So making sure that we start properly utilizing them. And then, of course, there's going to be a lot more. We're all focused on less manual work for operators and more impact. We want them to be able to focus as much as possible on the members and the connection there. So we want the rest to be as easy as possible. So, and maybe there will be auto curation of content based on player usage. Maybe there will be screensaver templates. So those are all things that we're exploring to make operators' lives as easy as possible when it comes to these features, so that it really becomes a no friction, no brainer for them as well. So we're looking not only at reducing friction for gym members, but also operators, obviously, to make sure that they can focus on what they need to focus on.
We're all about making life simple for people.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's give us the hard work, give us the feedback, and we'll try and make it as simple as possible for you to execute on a daily basis. I guess, kind of flowing into that, well, what would be for our listeners, if you could give them key takeaways to how they best should use our system, especially in the marketing space, what would that be?
Well, really, I would want to emphasize that it's not just content delivery. So make sure to look at everything else. Make sure that it is branded so that it really fits into your club atmosphere. Make sure that you have those screensavers that let users know that they can interact with it, explore commercials, partnerships, etc. And then use it to amplify your brand. Use it to its fullest. Don't think of it just as a delivery system. Just see the whole of it, and please reach out if you need our help.
I was going to say that, look, I think that's one thing I've always been very proud of our team is we're always willing to talk and help and solve problems for operators on our systems. So, please talk to customer success, talk to me, talk to Lorraine, talk to as many people as you want from Wexer, so you execute as best as you can. So, very good advice. And then in terms of, wrapping up, I guess what excites you the most in terms of the future of the Wexer platform overall, in terms of how we're trying to help members help operators connect with their members digitally?
Well, I'm just really excited about one, the scale of what we're doing, because we can reach so many members and so many operators, but also just making sure that operators know that we're here and that it's not virtual versus live. It's really about enhancing the experience and making sure, again, that operators can and even operators and trainers can just focus on that member connection, and that we're just here to help so that they don't get stuck in operational overhead and things like that. Let us handle that part, connect with your members and help them and support their goals. And we will do the rest. And so like I said, I love that mission, because that's what I want when I go to the gym. So I'm just really excited about being able to support that, and helping solve our operators' problems into the future. Yeah.
That's a beautiful way to end the podcast. Look, I thank you for jumping on. I can't believe it's the first one that you've done. I think there will be probably another one that comes with me and Lorraine, just more talking about the future. But I think we really wanted to dive into, in this pod at least, features that just are not being utilized, especially from a marketing point of view. That we feel that there's a gap in the market, that if we put it on a podcast where so many of our listeners listen to, they might take some action. So, and again, as me and Lorraine have mentioned about 14 times, please reach out to the team if you need help in terms of executing all these particular features and functions that we mentioned on the pod today. But so, Lorraine, thank you very much.
Thank you.